Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm hearing this word more and more. People are talking about manifesting what you want. What does that even mean? And does it actually work? And how do we do it? We're going to dig into that right now. She's a Reiki master and teacher, intuitive life coach, clairvoyant medium, and she's back with us. I manifested her and she appeared. Joan Widen joins us on the program. Hi, Joan. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Steve. I actually manifested you too, so this works.
You know how I know? You know how I know manifesting works?
Yep.
This is this is how I this was my wake up call. I used to say things over the past 10 or so years. Just
Yep.
a statement. I used to throw a statement out, every once in a while, just, life in general. Comment
Right.
about life, comment about a situation, but I would repeat it over and over again.
Right. And
Not necessarily good stuff, but just what I was feeling or what I was thinking or
right.
perceiving to that situation to be, or just my life in general. It all came true. And it wasn't a
I
good
know the good, bad, and the ugly.
wasn't a good thing. I don't even have to share it with you. It's just little statements that I would make, like, I feel like this or whatever, but it all came true. So that's my clue that manifestation works in the wrong way right over there. And if that works, then it's safe to assume if you manifest the good stuff that can take place. Um, but a lot of us don't know how to do that. And I wasn't consciously doing it. I was just saying stuff. Um, I'd love to learn the correct way to do it. So can you share with us your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So the most common thing people say is, oh my God, I need a break. I just need a break. And
Mm,
it's like, okay, well, if you keep saying this, and most times, sometimes you actually get a break or you actually break a limb, right? And then you are forced to take a break. So I always say, okay, that's not the kind of break that you want. Can we rephrase that? I need a vacation. Perfect. Or I need time out, right? Time away. Everything like that. Because the reason why when people say all all things that are horrible in their life, they are like, I just need a break. I just need to shut down. I just need a break. There's so much feeling in their body and in the core, they can actually see they need a break or they need time away. They need a time out. So then it manifests so much faster, and they're also not attached to it. So the more you can visualize it and feel it, the
mm.
quicker it can come, right?
So that being said, the language
Yep,
is
all about the language.
saying I need a vacation more of a slight negative. What about reframing it and saying, I'm going on vacation. I'm taking a vacation. I can't wait to go on vacation, regardless of whether you booked it, regardless of whether you know where you're going or not. Or maybe
Absolutely.
or maybe you can be specific. I am going to the Bahamas. I'm going to the Bahamas. It's happening. It's gonna happen very soon.
Right. Can you actually see it?
Well, that's the other thing too. To visualize it, to feel it, what it's going to be like to be on that beach, what it's going to be like to have
Right.
a tropical drink. Maybe you don't have the funds for the vacation now.
It doesn't matter
Doesn't matter. So manifest it and
because it will come.
I dream it. It's almost like field of dreams. Dream it and they will come. So really manifest it in such a way that it has arrived or it's just about here. It's a happening thing. Instead of saying I
It's
need
not even that it's just arrived or it's going to come, because going to come means one day, right? So you actually have to visualize it and feel it that you're already there
yeah, exactly.
and then let it go, right? So it doesn't matter if you've never been to a beach, because some people go, Joan, but I've never been there, so I don't know what it looks like. And I'm like, but you have an idea of what a beach vacation would be like. And they're like, that's true. And I'm like, okay, so imagine that. What would you do? Well, I'd like to sit on the beach. And I'm like, great. So what are you wearing? well, never thought about that. I need a bathing suit. I'm like, go buy a bathing suit.
Mhm.
See yourself wearing it. What kind of clothes would you bring? How would you do your hair? Where would you eat? What would you do? What are the things? Maybe you just want to sleep on the beach. That's okay.
Right, right. You can manifest it. I've never been to Italy. Bucket list. Okay. If I have a visual right now, I'm in Italy, table by some water. I'm eating that delicious pasta. I hear somebody playing an accordion. I don't know why, but I hear it in my mind. I see it. I feel it. Just wonderful people, warm feeling. I see a mountain. I see houses along that mountain. I've never been there. Seen some pictures,
Right. But it
but
doesn't matter
it
because
doesn't
there
matter.
are mountains in Italy. There are different things. There is bodies of water in Italy. There are people that play the accordion there, right? It doesn't even matter. As long as that feels like Italy to you, then that's how it works,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is, you have to really be convicted. So if you go, okay, yeah, I want to go to Italy. I see myself in Italy, but if there's a shred of doubt in that mind and in your heart, it's not going to happen. So you got to keep doing it until it's like faking it until you make it. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Because you have to get rid of that fear or that little bit of doubt, that shadow that's casted in there, because that kills it all.
Hmm. Okay, that being said, Joan, how often, like you said before, manifest it and let it go? How
Yeah.
often should you manifest? Let's center on the vacation. We're here.
Okay. Okay. So once I would say you manifest it as much as you can until you feel like, yeah, I'm actually going to be there. And then once that is, then you put it on the shelf.
Say that one more time. Want to make sure we got it.
Okay. So you manifest it. So you sit there and you meditate and you feel it. You see it visually in your mind and you feel it deep in your heart and in your soul. And once you know that it is, yeah, I'm actually going to be there. I can feel it. I can taste it. I can smell it. I can, like see it. Now, did you just get chills down your back? So see, so now you know that, yes, I'm going, gosh darn it, I'm going to be there. And then you table it. So you don't need to see it every day, right? As
You said
long as you feel.
the key word here, feel. That's
Yeah.
the key word. You have to feel the emotion of it and all of it, and then just
Hmm.
cast it away. And the worst thing you can ever do in manifestation, I believe, is time goes on. When is it happening? Why is
Yeah.
it happen already? All you do is just
No, because you haven't tabled it. You're sitting here thinking about it. And when you're thinking like that, you're actually doubting the fact that it actually can arrive,
exactly. Yeah.
right? So it doesn't matter how it comes, it just comes, right? The universe just goes, okay, as long as you don't say, well, I need to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this before I can do that.
Right.
That's way too many moving parts for the universe to go, hey, here, right?
Mhm.
Who knows? Maybe you'll go to Italy on a work thing. Wouldn't that be nice?
Okay. We don't know. We don't
Right?
know. And there's many times where I did go to the Caribbean for work.
Right. See?
Work.
So maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now we've just put it out. Hello, producers.
Mhm.
Let's make this happen.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Same thing with a sports car. If you want, let's say that red sports car, you always wanted it. Right now, I don't know if you can afford it. Whatever. Let all that go and just feel it, the emotion.
Feel it.
Like,
Actually, not only just feel it, imagine yourself driving it.
yes.
And if you want a convertible, feel the wind go in your face and the hot sun on your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Up and down.
That's one
People
of the
looking
reasons
at you.
why I don't love convertibles. It's too hot. But, some people like that. And so when you do that, then if you feel it and you can imagine it and you can see it, maybe you have your dog beside you,
Right.
right? And
Right.
you just go.
What song you listen to as you're driving?
That's right.
You pass the corner, people are looking at you like, wow, that's a really nice car. All of those, the smell of the leather, all of
Right.
that. I struggle with letting it go. So you manifest it. It's there's no doubt in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing when it's okay to just go, all right, throw it to the universe, and then table it, and then that's it. Don't get back to it. Don't think about it. Uh, don't think it's
So
here.
for you, you know how I said before when you're when you're meditating and you go, well, I know I have to do all these different things, and so I have a hard time just clearing that and letting it go. So it's kind of the same thing. So if you want a certain sports car and you know you have to table it, get a picture of it and post it somewhere. Because then now you don't forget about it, but it's there and you just walk by it every day. Does
Hmm.
that make sense? Same
Yeah,
with the picture of the beach, same with the picture of Italy. And you just put it there and it's there in your vision, but it's okay. Now I don't have to worry about that. I forgot about it
but
because sometimes that's what it is.
don't look at that picture and say,
Oh my goodness, when is this? I really want
right,
it.
right. Look at it and say, this is so much fun. That
Right?
let it go. Let it go.
Absolutely. There are sometimes I was living downtown Calgary at the time in a loft, a studio loft, and I had posted a picture of a house. And at the time it was 300 and just over 300,000, which is actually quite cheap now. And I didn't even think about it. I left it on the fridge. You open the fridge and whatever. And a year and a half later, I bought my first house in Calgary and it was over $300,000.
Wow.
And I didn't realize it that I manifested it until I was packing up and I had to take off all the stuff off the fridge.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I went, oh my goodness, here, this is it.
And how did you manifest it? Was it just what we're talking where you set it and forget it, so to speak, and put it
Yeah,
aside?
I set it and forget it. And then, but the thing is, some things you still need to have action, right? So that we wanted to buy a house. So of course you're going to start looking, you're going to do whatever. I didn't even think about any sort of pricing or anything like this. Well, I noticed I wanted a certain square footage house. I wanted a decent sized lot. I wanted a double car garage.
Hmm.
I saw it and I knew what I wanted, right? And then one day someone's like, oh, hey, have you ever heard of this neighborhood? It's fairly close to downtown and it's new. And I went, okay, well, let's check it out. And then part of this is also psychicness. I kind of went, we drove in there and it was all woods. So it looked like we were in the country, but we actually weren't. And so when I walked in, we did a couple of the show homes. And my husband at the time is like, we can't afford any of these. I'm like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. And then I'm like, we should actually check out that one. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, check out that one. We didn't check out that one. So he came back later and he checked it out and he said, oh my God, we can actually afford this. So then we set the motion in and we thought you actually had to put all this money down first, but you didn't because you were building. Not only did we just buy the house, we actually built the house. So
Wow.
we built it exactly how we wanted it.
How long, if you were to trace it back, did you buy the house from where you manifested it?
A year and a half.
Interesting.
If that, maybe not, because we were in there. Maybe, maybe not, because we were in the loft for a year and a half.
Hmm.
So maybe 6 months, because I didn't feel that the loft was big enough. Right? It was 900 square feet.
Wow.
Right?
Interesting.
So
Quick digression here, but anytime I watch any of those HGTV type shows and they have,
yeah.
the house flips or whatever, many of those shows are shot in Canada. And I'm in the New York area, and the prices of houses are insane here. But when they get to the end of a reveal of the house, or whatever, and they show the price of the home in Canada, I'm like, what? That much? Oh my God! And so, I don't know if that's the same. You see that, but That's
It used to be fairly cheap. Like, so I'm going to tell you, so the $300,000 house that I bought was 2,500 square feet
Okay.
with an attached 2.5 car garage. And it was 2-story.
Gotcha.
So but that was in 2002.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I bought 2002, right around two or three, 1 car garage. I don't know the square footage, probably 2,000. I'm trying to remember. And that was 319 back then.
Yeah, right. That same house now is 800.
Yeah. I don't know what mine was for. Probably that house is, 480, 450, 480, easily 480. And then there's taxes. I don't know what your taxes are, but then you got that on top of it. But yeah.
Yes. I think the taxes on the house is around 500 or sorry, 5,000 a year.
That's a deal. That house then, I believe the taxes were 7,000, and
Wow.
oh yeah, even on Long Island,
Wow.
where I am, you will not find anywhere with less than 8,000, if you're lucky, $8,000 in taxes. Yeah.
Okay, back then in 2002, the taxes were maybe $2,000.
Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. I just sold a house 6 months ago, and the taxes were, and this was cheap, 11. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then I'm thinking in my head, American dollars. Holy crap.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress.
Digressed.
How
Anyways.
manifesting, and I'm sure this is a popular one. You hear this all the
Yep.
time. The perfect partner.
Okay.
The
The perfect partner, everyone always asks me. The caveat here is you really need to know what you want and what makes you happy, right? So, and it's not the looks per se. Yeah, you can add that in, right? Me, I'm prone to like blonde, blue eyes guys.
How you doing?
How you doing? Right? And so that I always knew I would marry a blonde, blue eye guy. I did.
Wow.
2 of them actually. So, and then
one of them is named Steve.
and one of them Steve. And now I'm looking at it, Steve, that's blonde, blue eyes. Right? So you have to really know what is their personality, right? I want a strong guy. I want someone that's very masculine and all, right? Like I saw it. I actually had a vision. It was weird because I had a poster when I was younger in my 20s and it said inspiration. And I actually had it when I was 16 and it was this guy who was totally ripped and everything. And I put that away. And when I was moving, I actually gave it to, no, actually I didn't. So I moved to the house in the burbs, right? The 300,000. And I thought about it or whatever. Then I left it go. And that, cause I was just like, oh, okay, this is kind of weird, but I'm already married, so it doesn't matter. But fast forward, divorced, Steve, my husband, was that guy.
Wow.
Right? I just haven't, my first husband was my best friend. And we were meant to be more best friends instead of spouses.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? So again, you need to really know what you want, right? And you have to actually know that you are worthy of them. Do you know what I mean? So that was my problem the first time. I was like, well, there's no way. Like, I really like looking at that guy, but I'm not, there's something disconnected, right? So that was why it took so long to manifest that, even though he was right in my face, because Steve and I went to college together.
Wow.
Right? So literally they can be, you could know them and they're right there.
Would it be a good idea to write the things down that you want in somebody, just so it's staring you in the face, so it's crystal clear to you?
It is. The only problem with that is you get too nitpicky, right? So the older we get and we go, well, they have to, they can't snore, they can't fart, they can't do all these things. And you're going, okay, seriously, we are all humans. You do that. Like, you do all these things. How can you expect someone not to do that as well? Right? Like it's one of those things where be realistic, right? What do you want? How do you want them? How do you want them to treat you? You know, how do you want them to look? You can have the general this like general stuff like vain things that you can, but really it's going, okay, I want an open communication. How do you want your sex life to be? That's also important, right? How do you want PDA, right? Do you want PDA? Some people don't like it,
Right. Or
right?
even your love language. Some of us
Yeah.
are mushy,
Yes.
some of us aren't. And if it's not a mix, you're going to feel that you're not getting back what you're putting out there in that relationship.
Right. And some people go, well, I want this. And I'm like, you do realize that's totally opposite than you. Are you willing to accept that? Because sometimes they actually come into their space, but so, the saying, when one door closes, another one opens.
Yep.
You actually have to walk through that door. Most people forget about that. The door, yes, always opens, but are you willing and ready to walk through that door?
How do you know,
Right?
how do you know if you are?
You're sitting in the present, right? Because you can always, if you're not in the present, it doesn't matter. It can be right in front of your face and you won't see it. Case in point, Steve, husband,
Hmm.
right?
Well, yeah. Okay. There you go. Wow.
And we dated, kind of, sort of, in college, right? So I
Interesting.
wasn't ready. Maybe neither was he, but it was something different like that. Like I have girlfriends going, when is Mr. Right coming? And I'm like, well, what have you done? Well, I go to work, and I'm like, yeah, but you work for the government and everyone there is mostly female. So where are you going to get your guy?
And the other thing is too, what you put out there, you're attracting.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation, experienced it, talk with friends. Even on dating apps, energy, even though you've never met the person, you're looking at them on the screen. And let's say you swipe to the right and you connect, and you're attracting the wrong person, but they picked up
Yes.
your energy even through the app. You could have not even
Yeah.
had a conversation. I firmly believe that. I've experienced it. Friends have experienced it. It's almost mind blowing how that happens. That whatever you're throwing out there, whatever you're throwing out there that is not good, you're attracting it.
And the reason why is because you're so much here and visually and in your heart saying, I don't want that. And when everyone says, this is what I don't want, they're very strong and convicted in that.
And you get
Do
it.
you see what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
then you get it. And it's so obvious because it's in your face, right? I have another girlfriend that was doing that, and she'd go, Joan, pick guys for me. Like, how? I'm like, there's like 500 guys here. Like, how do you do this?
And then she says, Every guy you picked has blonde hair and blue eyes. What are you doing?"
No, with hers, it was totally, I'm like, I could do whatever, right? And she's like, yeah. And so I was trying not to use any of my biases. Do you know what I mean? To just do it. And she goes, yeah, but there's this aspect and then there's this aspect. I'm like, okay, what are the rules? I said, again, now this is really hard. I said, because you've just put different filters on what I can pick and what I can't. And I
Yep.
said, so now you're asking me and the universe to go, okay, this is what I want. However, caveat, they actually have to have their shit together and this and that, right? And I'm like, okay, but do you actually want a guy or does it have to be like they have to be in this perfect box? Because I'm going to tell you, it's gonna be hard to find someone in this little box like that.
Yeah, there's got to be some concessions made, but again,
Absolutely, but it doesn't say that you won't find that person. But sometimes the dating apps are not necessarily where you're going to meet them, right? So those two ladies that I was talking to consequently are now in relationships, and it happened to be because I introduced them to them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? And everyone's like, well, and the one I'm like, I did tell her, I'm like, they're a friend of mine, I just don't know who it is. And they came out later, right? And then said, oh, I actually like you. Right? So I like that, you know what I mean? So then they're like, well, why didn't this happen before? And I'm like, because you weren't ready for it. I said, you met them a long time ago. You met them how many years ago? I said, it wasn't, again, see, the door was open.
Didn't walk through.
Didn't walk through.
Yeah. Wow.
And both of them met them years ago.
How interesting. Well, you know what it is? You never know how life is going to go. You have no idea what's, through the door. We're just about it. We're out of time. Yeah, great talking with you and learning the
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, same here. And I know you're available. Maybe you're not a matchmaker.
No, I'm not.
But you're there to help somebody, be it Reiki, even if somebody's looking for a clairvoyant, medium,
Absolutely.
even life coaching, or any of the stuff we're talking about, manifestation to help with that. Best way to find you, your website is your name, right? Joan Widen?
That's correct.
Yep.
And I'm just going to say, last thing, just make sure you see it, feel it. And sometimes if you can smell it, it's even better.
Yeah. All right. Well, I smell perfume. Okay. JoanWiden.com, WIDEN. And thank you. I look forward to talking soon.
All right. See you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.